There are many figures who contribute to history. Most are overlooked, some command the spotlight, and some are simply forgotten. American history is no exception, with heroes, traitors, villains, and simply those who were in the right spot at the right time. But all these figures, good or bad, would contribute to this story, our story. This is Forgotten Figures. He was praised by Eisenhower as America's foremost battle leader, and by President Truman as the ablest field general the U.S. ever had. It's hard to fathom that a decorated World War II hero could be a forgotten figure, but Omar Bradley is one such figure, overshadowed by his peers. Future President Dwight D. Eisenhower, hero of the Pacific Douglas MacArthur, and polarizing George S. Patton. But Omar Bradley deserves to be talked about along with the other three. He was born into poverty in Clark, Missouri on February 12, 1893. Apparently, it's a big Amish country because I couldn't find any non-Amish pictures. Anyway, it was suggested to him to take the entrance exam into West Point, and in 1911, he was accepted into the military academy. 4 years later, he graduated 44th out of 164 in what history would later call the class the stars fell on, because 59 graduates would attain the rank of general. During World War I, his infantry regiment was tasked with guarding copper mines in Montana. In 1929, he graduated from the Command and General Staff College in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. He would go on to serve as an instructor in tactics at the infantry school, where the assistant commandant and future chief of staff, Lieutenant Colonel George Marshall, would call him quiet, unassuming, capable with sound common sense, absolute dependability. Give him a job and forget it. With praise like that, it's no wonder he rose to the rank he did. In 1938, he would be assigned to the War Department General Staff, where he would serve until 1941, where he would be promoted to a brigadier general and be named commandant of the infantry school at Fort Benning. A year later, he would earn a promotion to major general and be given command of the 82nd Division and the 28th Division of the National Guard. After the Allied defeat at Kasserine Pass in North Africa, Bradley would be assigned to assist Dwight D. Eisenhower in February 1943. He would be attached to the 2nd Corps led by General Patton, and eventually would become the deputy commander. As the Allied forces pushed the Axis powers out of North Africa, he would be promoted again to commander of the 2nd Corps, going into the Tunisian and Sicilian campaigns. When it finally came time for the full-scale invasion of Europe, Bradley's stock had risen to the point that Supreme Allied Commander Dwight Eisenhower chose him to lead the U.S. First Army in Operation Overlord. After minimal success, the invasion was not going as well as planned, but Bradley came up with Operation Cobra, an attempt to break through the German lines. Bradley wanted it to be, quote, the biggest thing in the world, and on July 25th, around 1,500 B-17s and B-24s dropped more than 3,000 tons of bombs before noon. Another 1,000 tons of bombs and napalm were dropped by medium bombers later in the day. A hole managed to open up in the German lines, and the 7th Corps Armored Force was able to push through. By the night of July 27th, the 30th Infantry Division had surged forward. More than 100,000 soldiers poured through a gap roughly 5 miles wide, turning the German left flank and opening the way from Normandy to Brittany. On August 1st, the U.S. Third Army under Lieutenant General George Patton was committed to the front to chase the Nazi war machine out of France. From that day until VE Day in May 1945, Omar Bradley would command more troops in the field than any general in American history. 4 armies, 12 corps, 48 divisions, and over 1.3 million troops. He wasn't without his faults, however. On July 24th, the original go date of Operation Cobra, the first wave got off before it was canceled, dropping several dozen bombs that would fall behind Allied lines, killing or wounding around 150 U.S. soldiers. On July 25th, several more bombs would fall short, killing another 111 U.S. soldiers, including Lieutenant General Leslie McNair, and wounding another 500. Eisenhower was furious and vowed never to use heavy bombers again in support of ground troops. Another criticism would come immediately after Operation Cobra and the Battle of Falaise Gap. As the Germans rapidly retreated, there was an opportunity to trap them at Argenton. General Patton wanted to push north toward Falaise. Instead, Bradley directed the 15th Corps to focus in another direction, leaving an area for a sizable portion of the German army to escape. At the war's end in August 1945, he was appointed to head the VA, which he would do until February 1948, when he succeeded Eisenhower as the U.S. Army Chief of Staff. The following August, he became the first ever chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which he would serve for 2 terms during the Korean War. In 1944, Congress approved the creation of a 5-star rank split among the service branches. In 1950, Bradley was the recipient of the final set of 5 stars. He would retire from the Army 3 years later. So why is such a hero overlooked? Simply, there were too many big names on such a grand scale. First, Patton was a headline grabber, and usually in hot water. His surprising and untimely death on December 21, 1945, drew away from the successes of the war. MacArthur was America's hero. He was rescued in the Philippines early in the war and vowed to return, which he did. He also controlled the entire Pacific War strategy, which almost included a mainland invasion of Japan, if not for the 2 atomic bombs. His exploits in Korea after World War II saw him return home almost like a conquering hero, and Eisenhower got the glory for the war in Europe, and of course would go on to serve 2 terms as president from 1953 to 1961. Without Bradley and his determined leadership, however, the war could have dragged on, or the Allies could have been pushed back to the beaches of Normandy and surrendered. He deserves to be remembered as America's top general. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and follow me on Twitter at PastandPresent4. Thanks for watching.